Your legs should not feel empty halfway through a walk or while climbing the stairs. In the next few minutes, you'll learn how 3 simple protein meals can help your muscles fight back without spending more at the supermarket. Here's what most men over 60 don't realize. Every week, you're already spending money on food that's actually weakening you. It fills you up without actually helping your legs. Every piece of information you're about to learn in this video comes from real research on men over 60 and proper protein guidelines, not random stuff people made up on the internet. In today's video, I'll guide you through 3 budget-friendly food fixes that can help support your strength, using the same grocery money you're already spending. If your legs feel shaky on stairs, the shopping feels heavier than it should, and you don't trust your legs when the grandkids move fast, your food might be part of what's driving it, and it can also be part of the fix. Let me tell you a story about my old friend Sylvester. He's 64, a retired business owner, and every Saturday we meet for our usual walk around the park. Sylvester values his independence more than almost anything. He doesn't want to be the guy who can't keep up or who needs help with basic tasks. But last month, halfway through our walk, his legs felt so weak he had to sit on a bench while I waited. He was embarrassed and worried he was becoming a burden. This is what has been happening. Sylvester had been buying mostly cheap processed foods and skipping protein to save money, thinking food is food and that staying active was enough to keep him strong. Let me give you some statistics. In a large study of older adults, those with severe muscle loss consistently consumed less protein than their peers with stronger muscles. Now get this. Protein intake below roughly 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight per day may actually worsen age-related muscle loss, while around 1.0 to 1.6 grams per kilogram per day is linked with better strength and lean mass in older adults. Sylvester's day usually looked like this: coffee and toast for breakfast, a small sandwich or pastry at lunch, then a cheap frozen dinner or a big plate of pasta at night. He thought he was being smart with his fixed income, but his legs were telling a different story on those stairs, on those walks in the park, and when he tried to lift things. Be honest with yourself right now. What do your normal breakfast and dinner really look like most days? These 3 fixes are intended to change this specific scenario without requiring additional funds or complicated recipes. Now here's what changes everything. You've probably been told to just eat less and walk more your whole life. And maybe that worked when you were 40 or 50. But after 60, eat less and walk more might be the exact thing stealing your leg strength while you think you're getting healthier. I call it protein drift. Nothing dramatic, just years of eating light while your legs quietly get weaker. Most grocery advice screams about total calories and cutting carbs. But for your legs, how you actually feed your muscles throughout the day may matter far more than the number on a bathroom scale. That's why these 3 fixes focus on how you feed your muscles and not just whether you're eating light or saving money. Because if the food doesn't support your leg strength, you're quietly paying for weakness instead of independence. The first fix: 3 normal meals that can help support your leg strength without adding crazy costs to your groceries. Here's what went wrong with Sylvester's low-protein day, which looked like this: toast and coffee in the morning, a light lunch, and a carb-heavy dinner. He was spending money every week, but not really feeding his muscles. That protein range I mentioned earlier, around 1 to 1.2 grams per kilo. That's what these 3 meals are designed to help you hit without needing fancy supplements or expensive cuts of meat. And here's something that surprised many people. In one trial with active men over 60, a carefully planned plant-based diet providing about 1.3 grams per kilogram per day of protein from varied plant sources produced similar daily muscle protein synthesis compared to an omnivorous diet with mostly animal protein. What that means is when total protein is high enough, meals built from both animal and plant protein can work together. You don't need expensive steaks and whey powder every single day. On his worst days, Sylvester was running on a light breakfast, a snacky lunch, and a big starchy dinner. Then, fast forward to a few weeks into the 3 protein meals. His plate looks completely different. Eggs, beans, yogurt, canned fish, and some meat. No fancy stuff, just real food. Here's what you need to do. Build a 3-meal pattern for an average man over 60 using budget foods: eggs, Greek yogurt or quark, and canned fish like sardines or mackerel, beans, lentils, and frozen chicken. First day. Your breakfast should include 2 eggs scrambled on toast with a small bowl of Greek yogurt. For lunch, canned sardines on whole grain bread with a side of beans. And for dinner, frozen chicken thighs with a can of mixed beans and some frozen vegetables. Day 2. You can also try this. Breakfast can be Greek yogurt with a handful of oats and some seeds. For lunch, leftover chicken and beans on toast, or if you don't have any leftovers, canned tuna and beans on toast work just as well. Dinner consists of minced meat with lentils and tomato sauce served over rice. And the third day, you can have beans on toast with 1 poached egg for breakfast. Lunch will be tuna from a tin mixed with cottage cheese and cucumber. Dinner is a frozen fish fillet, chickpeas, and roasted vegetables. This is where Sylvester first noticed it during our Saturday walk. Same pace, but less of that shaky, drained feeling. These aren't magic meals. They're just normal supermarket staples arranged to get you closer to the range associated with better muscle outcomes. Around 1.0 to 1.2 grams per kilogram per day for most men over 60. If you've got kidney problems, don't raise your protein on your own. Talk to your doctor or a dietitian first, so you know what range is safe for you. Most guys over 60 think higher protein eating costs more. It usually doesn't. It's the same budget but spent differently. Compare a trolley of biscuits, sugary drinks, and ready meals to eggs, beans, frozen chicken, and yogurt. Same money, completely different result for your legs. What's one low-protein processed thing in your trolley right now that you could swap for eggs or beans next week? This fix gives your muscles the fuel they need so your walks and strength have something to work with. And once you've got that base, the next step is to turn one of these meals into your main strength anchor for the day. The second fix. 1 daily meat and beans plate that can help protect your strength over the long run. Here's the trap most men fall into. Their main meals are usually heavy on one thing and missing everything else. It might be a big carb-heavy plate with hardly any protein. Or it's meat on its own with nothing to balance it out. Or it's one of those salty, ready meals that looks filling but leaves your muscles with almost nothing to work with. You feel full, but your legs still feel empty on the stairs or when you're lifting things because the protein and quality are off. Here's a stat worth knowing. In a 5-year study of older men, the guys who ate meat and legumes daily had lower odds of ending up with serious strength and muscle loss than the guys who rarely ate protein-rich foods. The odds ratio was 0.297. That's a strong association, but not a guarantee. It was observed in a specific population, but it follows a clear pattern. Combining meat and beans daily has been linked to a reduced risk of leg failure as you age. Why does this combo work? Simple. Meat and beans give you complementary amino acids and more total protein that could support your leg muscles over time. 3 weeks back, Sylvester's dinner was plain pasta or a frozen curry with hardly any protein. But these days, he's got his anchor meal locked in. That chicken and beans plate shows up 5 or 6 nights a week now. And when we meet for our Saturday walk, he's not grabbing the bench halfway through anymore. Still cautious and still pacing himself, but his legs feel like they have something behind them once more. But here's the thing. Dinner fixed the biggest hole, it didn't finish the job. If breakfast stays coffee and toast, you still spend half your week underfueling your legs. That's why Fix 3 matters. Let me show you how simple this can be. Give yourself 2 to 3 plate templates that combine meat and legumes. First template, frozen chicken thighs or drumsticks, cooked in a pan or oven with a tin of mixed beans or butter beans and frozen peppers. Season with garlic, paprika, and a bit of stock. The second template, minced meat, browned in a pan, with a tin of lentils and chopped tomatoes. Serve over rice or with bread. Add onions and herbs if you want. And the third template, canned fish like mackerel or sardines, mashed with a tin of chickpeas, lemon juice and a bit of olive oil. Eat with toast or crackers and a side salad. Each plate contains between 50 and 60 grams of protein, possibly more depending on portion size. That's a serious anchor for your day. Now, about the budget. A lot of men over 60 worry about cost, but here's the truth. If you swap out some processed extras, desserts, sugary drinks, or extra bread and biscuits, you can free up enough money to pay for the meat plus beans plate without increasing your total spend. These foods are some of the cheapest protein sources in the supermarket. A tin of beans, frozen chicken thighs, and canned fish. You're rearranging the same budget, not adding a second mortgage. Eating meat alone at dinner and thinking that's enough? Or eating beans alone and avoiding animal protein? That's the biggest mistake. The cohort data suggested that combining them both daily is associated with the lowest risk. Before you do this, if you've got several chronic conditions or you're on multiple medications, treat this as general education. Consult with your doctor before making significant dietary changes. And if you're on blood pressure or diabetes pills, the third fix matters even more. I'll explain why in a moment. This anchor meal alone isn't enough, though. Most men over 60 tend to be low in energy at breakfast and between meals. That's where the next fix comes in. The third fix. Simple breakfast and snack changes that can help close your protein gap without blowing your budget. Here's what you may not realize yet. Many men over 60 eat low-protein breakfasts, coffee, and something light throughout the week, relying on ready-made meals that appear filling but lack protein. A study looked at budget-ready meals aimed at older adults. 2 of those meals added together delivered less than 50 grams of protein, which is way below what men over 60 actually need, and the sodium was through the roof, over 2,500 milligrams a day. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In a study with home-dwelling men over 60, adding 1 high-protein meal and 1 protein-rich snack moved people closer to about 1.03 grams per kilogram per day. And most of that extra protein came from simple dairy snacks, Greek yogurt, quark, and milk-based options. Yes, it will increase your daily food expenses by a few dollars, but the protein jump was real, and for some older adults, especially frailer men over 60, better nutrition and more protein may help modestly improve walking speed as part of a broader care plan. Here's another interesting fact. Breakfast is often the lowest protein meal for older adults, and higher protein intake at breakfast or lunch, especially from animal sources, is associated with higher total daily protein intake. So putting more protein into breakfast may help some older adults reach higher daily totals. The evidence on timing alone is still limited, but the pattern is clear. Don't leave breakfast empty. Now, let's go back again to my old friend Sylvester. He used to start the day with coffee and toast, maybe a biscuit mid-morning, but by the time our Saturday walk came around, his legs had nothing to work with. Now, a few weeks in, he's upgraded his breakfast to eggs on toast with a side of beans and yogurt. He's also added a simple mid-afternoon bowl of Greek yogurt or quark instead of biscuits, and upgraded his lunch and dinner with protein. Nowadays, when he gets up from a low chair or walks to the shops and during our weekly walk in the park, there's a bit more confidence and strength in his legs. It's not dramatic or perfect, but it's real. Upgrade your breakfast using budget foods, and here are some options. Option 1. 2 eggs scrambled or poached on whole grain toast with a side of baked beans and maybe a small bowl of Greek yogurt on the side. Option 2. Greek yogurt with a handful of oats, some seeds, and a bit of fruit. Or add a scoop of powdered milk to normal milk for extra protein if you want. Option 3. Leftover meat and beans from last night's dinner warmed up on toast. Sounds odd, but it works. High protein, but cheap. Each of these breakfasts gives you roughly 25 to 30 grams of protein. Compare that to toast and coffee, which gives you maybe 5 grams. You can also add 1 or 2 simple snacks between meals. A bowl of Greek yogurt or quark, plain or with a bit of honey. Or a glass of milk with added powdered milk stirred in. A cheap way to boost protein. And finally, a small tin of beans eaten cold or warmed with a bit of salt and pepper, or hummus with veggie sticks if you prefer. These snacks can help you move your total daily protein closer to the recommended range. And they may support your walking speed and function, especially if you're already slowing down. One practical tip. If you're using ready meals, look for at least roughly 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. Aim for 2 main meals together to deliver at least 60 to 65 grams of protein combined, and be mindful of very high sodium. Relying only on milk or dairy as your protein source? One cohort study found that daily milk or dairy alone didn't show a protective association with muscle loss, whereas meat plus legumes did. So use dairy as part of the pattern, not the whole pattern. Remember earlier when I said, Fix 3 matters more if you're on BP or diabetes meds? Here's why. Frail men over 60 or those losing weight without trying should ideally make these changes under professional guidance as part of a broader plan that includes movement. If that's you, don't do this alone. Get your doctor involved. And here's the reality check. For some men over 60, closing this protein gap and improving breakfast and snacks can help them feel a little quicker on their feet, a bit more confident with stairs and walking. But this does not guarantee fewer falls or independence for everyone. Falls depend on many things: balance, environment, medications, or underlying health. Protein is one useful lever, but it's not the only one. So how does Fix 1, Fix 2, and Fix 3 fit together into one normal day? Let me show you. The first fix was building a 3-meal pattern that moves you toward a realistic daily protein range using normal supermarket foods. The second fix was making one daily meat and beans plate your strength anchor, a plate that's linked with a lower chance of serious muscle and strength loss over time. And the third fix was upgrading breakfast and using simple snacks to close the protein gap and support walking confidence, especially if you're slowing down. Here's what one normal day might look like. Breakfast: 2 eggs scrambled on toast with a side of baked beans, small bowl of Greek yogurt. Mid-morning snack: a glass of milk with a bit of powdered milk stirred in if you want extra protein. Lunch: canned sardines or mackerel on whole grain bread plus chickpeas or a small bean salad. Afternoon snack: Greek yogurt or quark. Dinner: frozen chicken thighs cooked with a tin of mixed beans and frozen veg served with rice or potatoes. That's it. No healthy powders, no fancy recipes, just familiar foods arranged to feed your muscles. Now here's the part you can't skip. Food and protein-rich meals may help support muscle mass, leg strength, and day-to-day independence after 60, but they don't replace regular movement or strength training that's been cleared by your doctor. Treat these budget meal ideas as fuel for safe walking, balance work, and resistance exercise, not a standalone fix. One more thing. This video is general information for men over 60. It's not personal medical advice. Consult your doctor before making significant changes to your diet, protein goals, or supplements, especially if you have a medical condition or take regular medications. Most of the evidence here shows trends and associations, not guarantees. Results will differ between men, but here's what you can do. Choose 1 or 2 changes from today's fixes to try over the next week by upgrading your breakfast. Add 1 meat and beans plate. Try a simple protein-rich snack. And if you want to turn this into a real routine, there's one more step. You've got the meals, but the real question is, what changes if you actually do this for 30 days? Watch the video that just appeared on your screen. It discusses what 30 days can really reset after 60. In that video, you'll see one simple daily food rule, a 10-minute legs and hips strength block with no floor work, and 3 real-life signs that show it's working for your legs. No hype, just realistic expectations for a normal man over 60. Click on it now. And drop a quick comment before you go. What do you usually have for breakfast most days?